I scooch back onto my mat. When you're ready, take your time. Let's just all come and find a nice seated position. Let's just take a moment to kind of bend the wrists over the knees so that we feel kind of the weight, the support of that. And like we always do, let's just start to move the body a little bit left to right. Trying to keep it as fluid, slow as possible. You know, a lot of times when we think about somatic work, if we feel like we're not getting a huge benefit or we want to advance, one of the best things you can do is go a little bit slower. I also do like a mega reformer Pilates, and they always talk about going so slow. Yes, in part for the strength building, but also for the awareness of form, tapping in and tuning into the body and the muscles. And so really thinking about how slowness becomes a cue to our nervous system. If your mind is restless, if you are thinking and go, 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 you can go a little bit faster and then slowly make it slower. Slowly make it slower. So that you kind of meet your body where it's at. And tune into the sensations in your body as much as you can. Engage the mind out of the rumination cycles, the to-do lists, and come into sensation. Right? Just be here for 15 minutes. Being with sensation. Now start to deepen a little bit and start to circle a bit forward, sending the chest forward. You can press your palms up against the tops of your thighs. And we're moving in one direction for a bit. We'll move in the other. But then I'm going to give you guys a little chance to kind of freeform it a bit. Just see where your body needs more support, what direction it wants to go organically. And so when you're ready, you can switch directions. And I'll say even for myself in my practice today, I am feeling a little bit more rigid, a little bit more go, go, go. So I'm not forcing myself to look all loose and somatic practitioner-y, right? I am just meeting my body with where it's at. Being kind to any rigidity, any tension. Taking my time, knowing that my practice looks different every single day. Now when you're ready, start to freeform it. I love to look at this as almost a focus on asymmetry instead of symmetry. We have this tendency towards trying to make it equal on both sides, but in this work, I want you to notice, to pay attention to what's going on between the two sides, left and right, even front and center. Can I start to align my movement with what my body is asking for versus what somebody is telling me to do? It is the smallest kind of starting seed of prioritizing your needs over the requests of others. And in this work, physiologically, we are always planting little seeds that help to rewire our beliefs around how we should move through the world. And that's powerful because it helps us to exit a chronic state of dysregulation in a permanent way. We're not going to be the same people who sent ourselves into that state before. Take a few moments more. Maybe bringing a little smile. I talked to a client yesterday, I think, about levity. This work can end up feeling so heavy. And so where you can bring playfulness and a little smile without it being inorganic, no toxic positivity, right? Go for it, do it. Have a little fun. And then when you're ready, coming back through center, taking our hands for a limbic hold, we'll take our palms and we'll just press them around our head and hold for a moment. You can have a nice little curl in your spine so that it doesn't feel like you're too upright. And feel yourself apply some slight pressure here. And notice the sensations that this creates, the feeling of being held and supported. And if it feels right, you can start to kind of, almost like airplaning a little bit, swaying side to side. One of my favorite things to do and incorporate into my somatic practice is almost like I'm tracing a little figure 8, right? Or an infinity symbol, I guess, because it would be on its side. And sometimes I do this with the back of my head. Sometimes I do this in my movements, but it's that repetition, bilateral stimulation. And it's interesting because I'm shifting in different directions, lifting and lowering. But you're also welcome to just hold here for a moment, just a few more breaths. And then gently releasing the palms, releasing the hands. Let's just take a moment to notice. So much power in the pause in this work. What's still here without judgment? What's showing up? And sometimes we can think, okay, I see what's showing up. Now what am I supposed to do with that? Just be with it. Learn to understand the language of your body. Like when you move to a foreign country, you don't speak the language and you pick it up by getting enough of it, right? And you're just kind of thrown into the fold. Practice that. And then last thing we'll do, seated, we're gonna take our fingers of one hand and place them on the palm of our other, and then we're just gonna switch here, right? Waking up some sensation in the hands. And I love to also start with seated movements because these are ones we can do at our desk, middle of the day. I shared on my story, I think yesterday, me just like rolling around on the floor during a little work break where I was like, I need to just like watch a documentary or something mindless. We can really learn to integrate this work, and that's a powerful thing. Rather than having to allocate or segment time out to do it, that can feel like a chore or a task. And a few more moments here. Take your time, really feel. I love this one. And then coming back to rested center, and let's slowly find our way down onto our mat. Let's have our feet on the floor, our backs pressed up against the mat. Just taking a moment here to recognize the support of the floor underneath you. And then pressing into the bottoms of our feet, as well as our upper back, we're gonna lift just slightly. And this is not a workout, remember. So we don't wanna be too up here extending the hips, right? We're not doing like a half bridge. Lifting just slightly. And from here, start to circle in one direction. And notice that kind of ball of energy or ball of pressure that rotates as you shift the weight from foot to foot. A few more times here. Taking it as slow as you need and making it as luxurious as you want, right? Kind of shimmying the hips like a little dance. And then we can gently bring ourselves back down to the mat. Feeling that release. I love the feeling of tension and relief on the other side, right? Even when we squeeze the body tight and release, anything like that. Just basking in that relief on the other side. And then when you're ready, lifting again, and this time shifting in the opposite direction of where you went. How does it feel? How does it feel different? And then also what's changing in the body, if anything. And I'll give you like a little tip. There's always something. that's changing, right? And so with that information, it's more of looking for what versus wondering if. And this is a really powerful way of thinking, especially when we're more numbed on autopilot or freeze, because we can really start to feel like, and I know I did in my shutdown, I don't feel anything. I really, really don't. And so without it needing to be so huge of a shift or change, look for subtle nuances, subtle details. A few more moments here. Massage on the shoulders as you're lifting slightly. And then when you're ready, gently coming back down to the mat. Feel the relief on the other side. Final time, we will lift, and this time it's free form. So shifting and ebbing your hips in the way that feels supportive for you. So maybe you do a couple rotations in one direction and don't make it even on the other side. Maybe you take your hands, place them underneath your low back for a little cruisy support. Maybe you don't even lift, you just rest on the mat and kind of shimmy in a way that feels supportive for you. No right or wrong way, just whatever your body is craving. Letting yourself yawn if that feels right. Maybe even hands overhead if you're feeling like you need to lengthen a bit, right? Get creative here. I teach my coaches like treating it like you are a dancer and you're creating a sequence. And it's your art, and what are you trying to convey through that art? And then when you're ready, coming back final time to rest on the mat here. Notice, feel your body, and if it feels unnerving to feel into your body, you can stay a little bit above, just still continue the practice in order to get familiar with it, so somatic work doesn't feel so scary. Titrate your way into noticing. And then bringing one knee into the chest, followed by the other, so that we're holding with our palms, our knees in slightly, and they're pressed out against the palms a bit. We'll draw the knees in, feel a little lift of the tailbone and low back, bending at the elbows, keeping the shoulders down, and then we'll gently release, just to the point that we started. We'll do that 3 more times. Pulling in, lifting slightly, feeling the full expression of the low back onto the floor or mat. And then gently releasing. Again, pulling in. And gently releasing. And then final time, pulling in, full expression of the low back. And gently releasing, 1 foot down at a time, so that you can really feel yourself centered and rooted. And here, just notice. Taking a breath, just a moment. This is where I really love to trace a kind of infinity symbol or figure 8 with the back of my head. Just little movements here. Help my mind to let go, my body soften. Just continuing to pause, to breathe. And then slowly extending one leg, followed by the other. I promise to keep today short for more accessibility. So we'll place a hand on the chest and one on the belly. And just allowing ourselves to be with the experience of being here with our bodies for a moment. A little break in our day. Really a moment to celebrate ourselves, that we are deserving and worthy of that time. And I know, like in workout classes, we want to leave right away instead of stretching. In somatic work, the noticing and the being with the experience at the end, the part that you're like, okay, I'm done, I want to go now, is the most important part, truly. Because it is the time that we bask in the experience, we notice, and we are with ourselves. So I just encourage you, if you're feeling like, okay, I don't need to lie here after all this, try it, just try it. And see how it might enhance your experience and the benefit that you're getting from this work. Final breath, big breath in, and let it out, big sigh.